Hey, welcome. So, have you ever had that feeling where your English is, grammatically perfect, but something's just missing? Like you're speaking by the book, but not really like the people you hear in movies or just talking on the street? Well, in this explainer, we're going to unlock the secret to closing that gap for good.
Right? You've put in all the hours, you've totally mastered the grammar, your vocabulary is awesome, but there's still that feeling that something is a little bit off. It's kind of like you're following a recipe perfectly, but the final dish is missing that one key ingredient. So, what is that secret ingredient that native speakers seem to use all the time?
Well, you guessed it. The secret is idioms. I remember when I first started learning another language, I was so confused by these phrases that made zero sense literally. But then, once I got them, it was like a huge light bulb just went on. Idioms are really the seasoning that gives a language its unique flavor. And today, we're going to give you the ultimate starter pack.
Okay, so where do we begin? Let's dive right into our first category, idioms for when things get tough. Because, let's be real, life isn't always a walk in the park, and English has some absolutely fantastic phrases to talk about those tricky moments. First up, to add fuel to the fire. Just picture this. Your friend is already super upset about failing a test. If you then go and mention that the test was actually really easy for you, you're not helping, are you? Nope. You're just adding fuel to the fire, taking a bad situation and making it totally explode.
Oh, this next one is so vivid. I love it. To bite off more than you can chew. Come on, we've all been there. You agree to a huge project, or you're trying to juggle a new job and classes at the same time, and suddenly you realize you are completely drowning. That is the exact moment you know you've bitten off more than you can chew.
Now, this one is really direct. When someone is panicking or just totally overwhelmed, you might tell them to pull yourself together. It's basically a command to, calm down and get back in control. But a little warning, be careful with your tone here, because it can sometimes sound a little bit impatient. But if you're saying it to yourself, it's a great little kick of motivation when you're stressed out.
To cry wolf. This one comes straight from that classic story, right? The boy who lied about a wolf attack way too many times. He called for help so often that when the real danger showed up, nobody believed him. So, if you say someone is crying wolf, it means they're raising an alarm or asking for help when they don't really need it.
Have you ever been faced with a really complex topic like a new scientific theory or some super dense legal document? That feeling of struggling and then finally it clicks. That's getting your head around it. The phrase just perfectly captures that mental struggle and that amazing aha moment of understanding.
All right, so now we have some phrases for tough spots. Let's switch gears and look at how we can communicate a little more effectively. Our next section is all about idioms for making your point clearly and with real impact.
This one is an absolute classic, and for good reason. Actions speak louder than words. It's just a simple, powerful truth. What you do matters so much more than what you say you're gonna do. It's the ultimate idiom for holding people accountable, and that includes yourself.
This is such a great one for teamwork or projects. When you say the ball is in your court, you're essentially saying, okay, I've done my bit, now it's on you to make the next move. It's a super clear and direct way to pass the responsibility over to someone else.
In a busy meeting or a really serious conversation, you just don't have time for all the small talk. That's when you cut to the chase. It just means you're skipping all the extra fluff and getting right to the most important point. It's a fantastic phrase for efficient, honest communication.
So how does office gossip really spread? Through the grapevine, of course. When you hear something on the grapevine, it means you've heard it unofficially. It's a rumor passed from person to person, not some formal announcement. It just perfectly captures that feeling of getting some juicy inside information.
So what do you do when your friends are in an argument? Or you're faced with a tough decision at work? Well, you might just decide not to pick a side. This is called sitting on the fence. You're choosing to stay neutral, right in the middle, and avoiding committing to one side or the other.
Here's a fantastic and really friendly way to just say, I don't know. When you have absolutely no more information than the person asking you the question, you can just say, your guess is as good as mine. It's a really humble and kind of collaborative way to admit you're just not sure.
Okay, we've talked about handling problems and communicating clearly. Now, for our final section, let's look at idioms that are all about performance. These are the kinds of phrases you'll hear in sports, at work, and really anytime people are talking about success and failure.
I love this idiom because it creates such a great visual of just extreme effort.
To bend over backwards for someone means you are doing absolutely everything you can to help or please them, even if it's really difficult or inconvenient for you. It's all about putting in that maximum effort. Okay, you caught the train just as the doors were closing, or you submitted that report with 1 second to spare. In these nail-biting situations, you succeeded by the skin of your teeth. It just highlights how unbelievably close you were to failing. And yeah, it's a weird image. Teeth don't have skin, which honestly just makes it even more memorable.
When a coworker is having a really bad day, or a new person on the team is just trying to learn the ropes, they're bound to make some mistakes. The kind and really productive thing to do is to cut them some slack. It just means being less critical and giving them a break so they can figure things out.
An opportunity is kind of like a boat at the dock. If you're not there on time, it just sails without you. To miss the boat means you were too late. The concert tickets are all sold out. The application window has closed. You've missed the boat. It's a sad feeling, but a very, very common one.
And now for a super famous and, let's be honest, delicious-sounding idiom. If a task is a piece of cake, it just means it was incredibly easy. No challenge, no stress, just simple and satisfying to get done.
And we're going to end with a call to action. 2. Step up your game as a challenge to yourself or to others to get better. It means you need to start trying harder, performing better, and really reaching for that next level of success. It's all about moving from just being good to being great.
Okay, we have covered a lot of ground. But now, the ball is in your court. See what I did there? Learning idioms is one thing. Using them is what actually makes them stick. So here's your mission. Pick your 5 favorites from our list today, write a brand new sentence for each one, and then, this is the most important part, try to use at least one of them in a real conversation.
Seriously, don't miss the boat on this chance to make your English sound so much more vibrant and authentic. I promise, getting your head around these idioms is a piece of cake once you start using them. So go on, step up your game. Which one is it going to be first?